Okay. Padmini and everybody ready, right?
Yes, KKG.
Okay. So welcome everybody. It's already 11 o'clock. It's time for us to get started with the program for today. So today we are having the fourth session of this online Srimad Bhagavad Gita Parayan and Satsang, which is being organized by Gita Jayanti Singapore. And welcome everybody to this series of Parayans of Bhagavad Gita, where we complete the whole of the Bhagavad Gita in 18 sessions, so as to complete by December of this year, so that on the December 4th, which happens to be the Moksha Ekadashi, or the actual Gita Jayanti day, we will do a full Parayan with a few hundred people sitting at physical Parayan. So that is the these sessions are meant to be some kind of training or some kind of practice sessions for which is actually leading towards that. And these Parayan sessions, now we have added a few other things like talks and some mini quiz and stuff like that, so that there is more interest and more knowledge is learned from these. Okay, so without and we have a guest of honor for our welcome address is by Mr. Jayakumar, who is actually Jayakumar BBM. He is the president of Singapore Malayali Hindu Samaj. So welcome everybody, and also our guest of honor for today. And Srinivasanji is also here, who is chairman of our steering committee. Okay, so without much ado, let's get started. So Padmini, we will get started with the.
Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum.
Thank you, Padmini. So now we have this is a time for welcome address. The welcome address is by our guest of honor for today is Mr. Jayakumar BBM. He's the long-time supporter and pioneer of this Gita Jayanti, as well as a strong supporter of this Gita Jayanti. And he's currently the president of Singapore Malayali Hindu Samajam, which was the previous lead organization in the year 2004. So we welcome Jayakumarji to this session, and also invite you to deliver your welcome address.
Thank you, Krishnamarji. Thank you. I am very honored to be here today, and I think this year is a very special year, the 25th year of the Gita Jayanti. I mean, Silver Jubilee you are celebrating. I am very honored to be the part of this, and this is a very knowledgeable thing. Just now you mentioned about what is the Gita Jayanti. I think it's a very knowledgeable thing for the people to attend and understand more about Gita and daily life challenges and success. Okay, so I want to mention this 25th year. It was started, I came to know that Professor A.N. Ravuji, and that time the HAB chairman, Mr. V.R. Nathanji, and K.S. Rajaji and Hariram Deyaniji. These are the four people started. I think from that, That means that they groom other people to come to this level. 25 years, not an easy task, but still is continuing with more people are attending now. Last time I remember 10, 20 people attending, now 100 over people. I think I came to know 300 over registration was there. It is very wonderful, and this one must spread among the not only the Indian Hindus or anything all over the world. Then it is meaningful and understand the importance of Gita that Sri Bhagavan Krishna mentioned to the devotee Arjuna. So say, I think what I understand is this Gita Jayanti is yearly conducted by different organizations, Indian organization, and this is a very good thing. This year, I think HEB Hindu Environment Board, Mr. Rajashekharji is leading, and thanks to Mr. Rajashekharji and the HEB Chairman, Mr. Jayachandranji, this is for the support and guidance for this group. I think it's very wonderful, and the steering committee chair by Mr. Srinivasanji and the secretary, Mr. Krishna Gubaji, you are the wonderful people, and you are leading this for very many challenges ahead, but very new things added. Just now, Mr. Krishna Gubaji mentioned you want to bring the young generation to this. Next time, I think they will introduce the new generation to groom and take over from you all. I think we must have a succession plan, and then only we can sustain this kind of thing. Anyway, wonderful, and all the people attended, definitely it's a very good thing. Yes, Bhagavad Gita is one of the most divine grantha, that means the Hindu divine book, not only for Hindus, but for the whole world. Just before the start of the Mahabharata Kurukshetra war between Pandavas and Kauravas, Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the form of Gita, that means divine song, preached this to his friend and great devotee Arjuna. But we should always remember that Bhagavan Sri Krishna is not just preached the great Bhagavad Gita only to Arjuna, it is for all the people in the world. Because Bhagavad Gita can able to help people understand the meaning and overcome the challenges and the problems. So I think we must practice this and continue this practice with everyone's what you are doing now. Congratulations to all. Lord Krishna will blessing all of you. Thank you so much. Give me the chance. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Jaykumar, for those beautiful words. And as you said, it's our endeavor to bring this Bhagavad Gita to all the Hindu community, at least of Singapore. That is the whole idea. So we have been like people, organizations from different regions. Southern region, northern region, eastern region, and western region, and the whole of Indian subcontinent is actually covered by this initiative that we have. So it's one of the unique these kind of events which actually brings or unifies all the Hindus together. So we actually are trying to cover all the age groups also, like youths and the children and adults and professionals and all sorts of things, all sorts of people. So we are trying to be as inclusive as possible. That's the whole idea. So Srinivasi, I think will agree with this, what I said just now. Okay, now we will get back to our actual session. So let me. So thank you again, once again, to Jaykumar for the welcome address. Now we get back to the Dhyanam, Gita Dhyanam. So this will be the initial part of Bhagavad Gita. After that, let me just, one more thing I forgot to, I think I need to, I'll mute everybody so that I will, people can unmute yourself after the session so that, there's no disturbance during the chanting. So let me just finish that. Yes. Okay, yeah. So now people will be unable, only the co-hosts will be able to unmute themselves, and all others will be able to unmute only after towards the end of the session, when people can ask their questions, so as to prevent any kind of disturbance to the event. So now we will start with the Gita Dhyanam by Padmini. Over to Padmini.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Srimad Bhagavad Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavattveshini Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullara Vindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraika Panaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gitamritaduhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Bhishmadrona Tata Jayadratha Jala Gandhara Nilotpala Shalyagrahavati Kripena Vahani Karnena Velakula Ashwathama Vikarna Ghora Makara Duryodhana Vartini Sotirna Khalu Pandavai Rananadi Kaivartakah Keshavaha Parasharyavachas Sarojamamalam Gitarthagandhotkatam Nanakyanaka Kesaram Harikatha Sambodhana Bodhitam Loke Sajjana Shatpadairaharaha Kepiyamanam Muda Bhuyad Bharata Pankajam Kalimala Pradvamsina Shreyase Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangha Padakramo Panishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam Navidussura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha.
Thank you, Padmaniji, for the beautiful Gita Dhyanam. Now we actually start with the Gita Parayan session for today. So today we will be covering the chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita, the Karma Yoga, one of the central concepts of Bhagavad Gita itself. So today there are 43 verses in this chapter. So we will do all the 43 verses so that we complete the full chapter today. And please, each of these slides which are being presented, each sloka has the meaning in English by some of the great masters, and also in Roman letters. So everybody should be able to follow and should be able to chant. At the end of the session, we will have a talk on this chapter by Sri R.S. Raviji, who is one of the well-known speakers on Bhagavad Gita as well as Vedanta in Singapore. So we will please do hang on till the end of the session so as to enjoy the whole of the Gita. So now we get started with the Parayan proper. Chapter 3, starting with verse sloka 1. Padmaniji.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Tritiyodhyayaha. Arjuna Uvacha. Jayasi Chet Karmanaste.
Arjuna Uvacha. Jayasi Chet Karmanaste.
मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन
मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन
तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे माम्
तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे माम्
नियोजयसि केशव।
नियोजयसि केशव।
अर्जुन उवाच जायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे माम् नियोजयसि केशव।
अर्जुन उवाच ज्यायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे माम् नियोजयसि केशव।
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन
बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे।
बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे।
तदेकं वद निश्चित्य
तदेकं वद निश्चित्य
येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्।
येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्।
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे। तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्।
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे। तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्।
श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा।
श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा।
पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ।
पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ।
ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां
ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां
कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्।
कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्।
श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा। पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ। ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्।
श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा। पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ। ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्।
न कर्मणामनारम्भात्
न कर्मणामनारम्भात्
नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते।
नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते।
न च सन्न्यसनादेव
न च सन्न्यसनादेव
सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति।
सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति।
न कर्मणामनारम्भात् नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते। न च सन्न्यसनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति।
न कर्मणामनारम्भात् नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते। न च सन्न्यसनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति।
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि
जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत्।
जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत्।
कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म
कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म
सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः।
सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः।
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्म कृत् कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्म कृत् कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य
य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन्
य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन्
इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा
इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा
मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते
मिथ्याचारस्य उच्यते
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा
यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा
नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन
नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन
कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम्
कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम्
असक्तः स विशिष्यते
असक्तः स विशिष्यते
यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते
यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं
कर्म ज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः
कर्म ज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः
शरीरयात्रापि च ते
शरीरयात्रापि च ते
न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः
न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्म ज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्म ज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र
लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः
लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचरः
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
सह यज्ञाः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा
सह यज्ञाः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम्
अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम्
एष वोस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
एष वोस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
सह यज्ञाः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम् एष वोस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
सह यज्ञाः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम् एष वोस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
देवान् भावयतानेन
देवान् भावयतानेन
ते देवा भावयन्तु वः
ते देवा भावयन्तु वः
परस्परं भावयन्तः
परस्परं भावयन्तः
श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ
श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ
देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ
देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ
इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः
इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः
दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः
दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः
तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यः
तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यः
यो भुङ्क्ते स्तेन एव सः
यो भुङ्क्ते स्तेन एव सः
इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यः यो भुङ्क्ते स्तेन एव सः
इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यः यो भुङ्क्ते स्तेन एव सः यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः
यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः
मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः
मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः
भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः
भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः
ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्
ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्
यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्
यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्
अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि
अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि
पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः
पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः
यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यः
यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यः
यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः
यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः
अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यः यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः
अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यः यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः
कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि
कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि
ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम्
ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम्
तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म
तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म
नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्
नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्
कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्
कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्
एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रम्
एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रम्
नानुवर्तयति हयः
नानुवर्तयतीह यः
अघायुरिन्द्रियारामः
अघायुरिन्द्रियारामः
मोघं पार्थ स जीवति
मोघं पार्थ स जीवति
एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयति हयः अघायुरिन्द्रियारामः मोघं पार्थ स जीवति
एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयतीह यः अघायुरिन्द्रियारामः मोघं पार्थ स जीवति
यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात्
यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात्
आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः
आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः
आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः
आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः
तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते
तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते
यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते
यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते
नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थः
नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थः
नाकृतेनेह कश्चन
नाकृतेनेह कश्चन
न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु
न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु
कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः
कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः
नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थः नाकृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः
नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थः नाकृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः तस्मादसक्तः सततं कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पूरुषः तस्मादसक्तः सततं कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पूरुषः
तस्मादसक्तः सततं कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पूरुषः
कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसंग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसंग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि
कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसंग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि
यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते
यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम् त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यम् वर्त एव च कर्मणि न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम्
त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि
यदि ह्यहन्न वर्तेयं
यदि ह्यहन्न वर्तेयं
जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः
जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः
मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते
मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते
मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः
मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः
यदि ह्यहन्न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः
यदि ह्यहन्न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः
उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोकाः
उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोकाः
न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहम्
न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहम्
शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम्
शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम्
उपहन्यामि माः प्रजाः
उपहन्यामि माः प्रजाः
उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोकाः न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहम् शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्यामि माः प्रजाः
उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोकाः न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहम् शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्यामि माः प्रजाः सक्ताः कर्मण्य विद्वांसः
सक्ताः कर्मण्य विद्वांसः
यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत
यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत
कुर्याद्विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः
कुर्याद्विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः
चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम्
चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम्
सक्ताः कर्मण्य विद्वांसः यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद्विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम्
सक्ताः कर्मण्य विद्वांसः यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद्विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम्
न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत्
न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत्
अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनाम्
अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां
जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि
दोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि
विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्
विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्
न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्
न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्
प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि
प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि
गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः
गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः
अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा
अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा
कर्ताहमिति मन्यते
कर्ताहमिति मन्यते
प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते
प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो
गुणकर्मविभागयोः
गुणकर्मविभागयोः
गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्ते
गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्ते
इति मत्वा न सज्जते
इति मत्वा न सज्जते
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्ते इति मत्वा न सज्जते
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्ते इति मत्वा न सज्जते
प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः
प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः
सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु
सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु
तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान्
तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान्
कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत्
कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत्
प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत्
प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत्
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि
सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा
सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा
निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा
निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा
युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः एमे मतमिदं नित्यम्
ये मतमिदं नित्यम्
अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः
अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः
श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः
श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः
मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः
मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः
एतेद्व्यभ्यसूयन्तः
ये त्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तः
नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम्
नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम्
सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान्
सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान्
विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः
विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः
ये त्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तः नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः
ये त्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तः नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः
प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि
प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि
प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि
प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि
निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे
रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ
रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ
तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत्
तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत्
तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः
परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात्
परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात्
स्वधर्मे निधनौ श्रेयः
स्वधर्मे निधनौ श्रेयः
परधर्मो भयावहः
परधर्मो भयावहः
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनौ श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनौ श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः
अर्जुन उवाच
अर्जुन sorry
अर्जुन उवाच अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयम्
अर्जुन उवाच अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयम्
पापञ्चरति पूरुषः
पापञ्चरति पूरुषः
अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय
अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय
बलादिवनियोजितः
बलाधिपनियोजितः।
अर्जुन उवाच अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापञ्चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिवनियोजितः।
अर्जुन उवाच अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयम् पापञ्चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिवनियोजितः। श्रीभगवानुवाच काम एष क्रोध एषः
श्रीभगवानुवाच काम एष क्रोध एषः
रजोगुणसमुद्भवः
रजोगुणसमुद्भवः
महाशनो महापाप्मा
महाशनो महापाप्मा
विध्येनमिह वैरिणम्।
विध्येनमिह वैरिणम्।
श्रीभगवानुवाच काम एष क्रोध एषः रजोगुणसमुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विध्येनमिह वैरिणम्।
श्रीभगवानुवाच काम एष क्रोध एषः रजोगुणसमुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विध्येनमिह वैरिणम्।
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः
यथादर्शो मलेन च
यथादर्शो मलेन च
यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः
यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः
तथा तेनेदमावृतम्।
तथा तेनेदमावृतम्।
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम्।
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम्।
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन
ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा
ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा
कामरूपेण कौन्तेय
कामरूपेण कौन्तेय
दुष्पूरेणानलेन च
दुष्पूरेणानलेन च
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेणानलेन च।
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेणानलेन च।
इन्द्रियाणि मनो बुद्धिः
इन्द्रियाणि मनो बुद्धिः
अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते
अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते
एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः
एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः
ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्
ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्
इन्द्रियाणि मनो बुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्
इन्द्रियाणि मनो बुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्
तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ
तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ
नियम्य भरतर्षभ
नियम्य भरतर्षभ
पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनम्
आत्मानं प्रजहिह्येनम्
ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्
ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्
तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभ पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनम् ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्
तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभ पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनम् ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः
इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः
इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः
मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः
मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः
यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः
यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः
एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा
एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा
संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना
संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना
जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो
जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो
कामरूपं दुरासदम्
कामरूपं दुरासदम्
एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्
एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्
ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे कर्मयोगो नाम तृतीयोऽध्यायः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्।
Hari Om. So we complete the chanting session for today, chanting portions for today. That means the complete chapter 3 has been chanted, and the meanings in the previous slides are actually from the great masters, who's like Swami Chinmayanandaji, Swami Dayanandaji, Swami Gambhiranandaji, George Feuerstein, Swami Vireshwaranandaji, Ekanandishwaran, Dr. Radhakrishnan. And we move over to Gita Mahatmya, and this will be done by Vinaji.
ॐ अथ गीता माहात्म्यं गीताशास्त्रमिदं पुण्यं यः पठेत् प्रयतः पुमान् विष्णोः पदमवाप्नोति भयशोकादिवर्जितः गीताध्ययनशीलस्य प्राणायामपरस्य च नैव सन्ति हि पापानि पूर्वजन्मकृतानि च मलनिर्मोचनं पुंसां जलस्नानन्दिने दिने सकृद्गीताभसि स्नानं संसारमलनाशनम् गीता सुगीता कर्तव्या किमन्यैः शास्त्रविस्तरैः या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्मात् विनिसृता भारतामृतसर्वस्वं विष्णोर्वक्त्रात् विनिसृतं गीता गङ्गोदकं पीत्वा पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मन्त्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकन्तस्य देवस्य सेवा हरि ओम्.
Beautiful, very nice. Thank you so much, Veena ji. And now we come to the thank you to all the wonderful chanters who did beautiful chanting for today. And now we have the session, the talk segment of this session. The talk will be by Sri R.S. Raviji, who is a very prominent and very important Vedanta and Bhagavad Gita speaker of Singapore. He has done he has done so much to carry the message of Bhagavad Gita to the Singapore audience, to the Singapore public, that I think we have to really very much acknowledge his outstanding contributions. So it is our immense pleasure to invite Sri Raviji to this talk. Now over to Raviji, please. We are eagerly listening to, want to listen to you.
How many minutes I have, Yoshi Kumar ji?
You have 30-35 minutes, can.
30-35 minutes, can.
Yeah.
Okay. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you for once again giving me an opportunity to share a little bit of whatever I have learned from my gurus in this August forum. I am sure there are new listeners and new chanters who have come and learning from since I addressed the last time. On the topic of Karma Yoga, let me briefly explain what is Karma Yoga and then go into the chapter details, how this chapter is unfolding. The word karma and yoga have got two meanings. Karma means action, yoga means attitude. So how do we perform the actions? What kind of actions we do to perform, and with what attitude we need to perform? This is the crux of the entire Vedanta, or otherwise call it as a foundation of the entire Vedanta. Anybody who is trying to study the Vedantic scriptures and would like to get the moksha, getting moksha within quote, is to understand oneself, has to have a very absolute clear understanding of what Karma Yoga is. And then not only what Karma Yoga is, one should be able to practice and be a Karma Yogi, cleanse the mind, and then only you will be able to go to Jnana Yoga, where we will be able to understand and get the self-knowledge, Aham Brahmasmi. So this is the foundation of the entire Vedanta. And Bhagavad Gita describes Karma Yoga in such an elaboration which you will not see it in the Upanishads normally. So in the Karma Yoga is very beautifully depicted by Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita. So let me look at these two words. What is karma and what is yoga? Karma means proper actions. What is the proper action? The actions can be classified into Satvikam, Rajasam and Tamasam. Satvikam being that which are noble activities, which are religious activities, which will elevate oneself spiritually. And Rajasam is which is activities which will give us more materialistic wealth and enjoyment are Rajasam karmas. And then Tamasam is neither Satvikam nor Rajasam. It is basically a person who is a person who doesn't want to do anything, who is a lazy person. So we have to perform actions, proper actions. So what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita and also our scriptures say is one should become a sattvic person for getting the jnana. One should become a sattvic person. Sattvic person means a person who has got a contemplative attitude, who has got a focus, who has got a concentration, who has got a noble activities, who has got a noble mind, a clean mind, and only such a person can get the jnana. And even if you don't have this attitude, if you don't have this mind, you may get the jnana, but it will not be going into your subconscious mind. So, and then you will not get the benefit of the jnana. So for getting the jnana or getting the full benefit of Vedanta, otherwise called Moksha, one has to cleanse the mind. That means one has to perform the actions in a sattvic way. Okay, the sattvic way is what? That means one has to do the actions, the prescribed actions. The prescribed actions being both the modern language, we call it as a both secular and sacred activities. In fact, we have to use the word sacred and secular only in the modern day language. Normally, there is nothing called sacred or secular because as per Sanatana Dharma, everything is a sacred. Because every activity, one is supposed to dedicate to the Lord all the time. Only for modern interpretation, we have to use these two divisions actually. So we have to do all the actions thinking of Lord all the time and dedicating to the Lord. That is the action we need to perform. So that is, you have to do the actions. What actions you have to do? All sattvic actions. That means all sattvic action means what is prescribed actions. Vihita karmani. Vihita karmani means prescribed karmas, which is both the secular and sacred. Sacred means whatever based on your varna and ashrama, depending on that, whatever actions, the religious actions you should perform. And whatever the laukika actions, which is whatever the business actions, other worldly actions you do it, all of them have to be dharmic. So we should perform all the actions with the absolute ethics, dharmic way, perform all the actions and dedicate everything to the Lord. That is the action part. So action part is you always perform everything, all actions, both the secular and sacred actions with the complete dedication to Lord, and they have to be dharmic. Then coming to the attitude part. Attitude is what? When you do the actions, do it for the sake of Lord. Do it for the sake of Lord. That means what does it mean? Then you must be able to see Lord in each and every place. It is not only He is in the Perumal temple or in the altar at our house. That means you should be, if you are going to be a 24/7 Karma Yogi, then you should be able to see Lord in each and every being, every situation, and every material objects. We should be able to see Lord. That is what Bhagavan talks about the Vishwarupa later. And you should be able to divinize the entire universe. Once you are able to see the entire universe as Lord, you will be able to easily perform Karma Yoga all the time. You will never forget Lord in front of you, whatever actions you do. So this is the attitude of dedicating everything to the Lord. Then the second aspect is receiving all the phala, the fruits of actions. We never do any action without expecting any result. We always have got the result in mind, then only we perform actions. In fact, one of the most confusing shlokas, Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, in the second chapter is often misinterpreted, where they say you have got a right over actions and no right over results. That answer is wrong answer. You have got the choice over the actions. You do not have the choice over the outcome of the actions. That is the way it has to be interpreted. The adhikaram has to be interpreted as choice, not as the right. So we have got the choice over the actions. There are so many other factors which influence the outcome of our every action. For example, the so-called body, we say it is my body. Even your own body does not listen to you. You take the morning breakfast, you take the rava upma, you take it today and it is digesting well. Tomorrow you take it, it is not digesting at all. You don't know why it is not digesting, because you don't have control over your own function of your body. You say it is my body. The moment you claim it still as your body, that we should be able to control it. So that it will show you the body is not in your control. It is only an instrument given to you. So understand, you do not control the outcome. You can only cross the green man properly in a Singapore road, but the other person who is coming in the car should not be talking on a cell phone, or should not be drunken, should not be distracted, and you should be abiding by the rules so that he doesn't hit you. We are seeing so many incidences. So understand, many of the actions or all the actions, we can only put forth what we can put forth, but the outcome is not in my control. We have to understand this principle very, very clearly. And then how do you take it? You take it as the Ishvara Arpana, Ishvara Prasada Bhava. The first one, when you are performing actions, you take it as a Ishvara Arpana Bhava. When you are receiving the fruits of the actions, take it with the Prasada Buddhihi. Then the immediate question comes, that means if I am failing in something, should I take it as a Prasada and do nothing about it? The answer is totally wrong. Krishna never will say that, because even for moksha, we have to try so much. Like a child, a 9-month-old child is slipping at least about 100,000 times before it starts walking. It never gives up. Similarly, we should never give up in our life, and then we should continue to strive. So what Krishna says is, when you say accept as prasada, where there is choiceless, totally accept it as such. Where there is a choice, try again. Where there's a choice, try again. Where it is choiceless, just accept it. I often quote an example of 2 examinations in India. Those who are from India will be familiar with this example. There is something called the civil service examinations called IAS, and there is a chartered accountancy examinations called CA exam. So in India, the cutoff age for IAS is 30 years. By the time you should clear the final and get into the staff college and then get into the IAS. That is the cutoff point. Okay, so if it is the last attempt, you are at 30 and you are able to clear it, well and good. If you are not able to clear it, you must be settling for something else. Whereas for the CA, you can even write as long as you are able to be, you have got the, what do you call it, you have got the ability, your senses are working, you are able to have the strength and mind. You can write at any age, no age bar is there. You can win and you can become a successful chartered accountant or even a doctor for that matter. Recently, one person has cleared MBBS after a bank manager has cleared MBBS at the age of 65, entrance examination, NEET examination, and got admission into a medical college, which we have seen. So understand, Karma Yoga is consisting of 2 parts. One is proper actions, which is all should be ethical actions, and all actions have to be dedicated to the Lord. That is what it is. And this is what Bhagavan says in the 9th chapter. Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyupahridam ashnami prayatatmanaha yatkaroshi yadashnasi yajjuhoshi dadasiyat yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. And accept everything as the prasada of the Lord. Prasada of the Lord means wherever there is a choice, please do it again. And please try to be successful in your life, including the striving for moksha. Wherever there is a choice list, accept it with the grace of the Lord. I can quote hundreds of examples, but I'll stop with these two examples. So the very important aspect of Karma Yoga is, this is the most important crux. The attitude is more important than the processes. When it becomes a Karma Yogi, because there's so much of confusion about our religion, and especially when it comes to religious practices, there are so much of inconsistencies and interpretations, and it varies from person to person, family to family, all those things. And people always have the so-called Bhaya Bhakti. People always have the fear over the religion. Bhagavan says you should never fear on anything. That too with the religion. That too Krishna says you have a full love and dedication to me and then do everything. So one of the important aspects is your attitude is more important than processes. That means what? That means your attitude should be dedicating everything to the Lord and receiving everything as the Ishvara Prasada Buddhi, and all the activities, sacred and secular activities, everything should be ethical, above board, and you should do with that attitude, you should get it. Okay, so it is a very, very important. Then how about the processes? All the processes are important, and especially when it comes to religion, you do follow the processes. But what happens is with various constraints, sometimes you will not be able to do. We have seen during the Corona time, during the peak last 2 years, many times there was a lockdown and we are not able to move out of the house. Many religious practices, including Shraddha, Tarpana, could not be performed the way you are supposed to do it. So what you are supposed to do? You are supposed to do in the best possible way within the means. So understand, always the attitude prevails over the processes as far as Karma Yogi is concerned. It doesn't mean you will neglect the processes, neglect the actions. You will of course do whatever for example, if you are celebrating Krishna Janmashtami, you will do all the snacks and savories and everything, as many as possible. If you are not diabetic, if you've got a young children, then do all those things and give it to Bhagavan. And for example, if you are not well, or if you are a mother who is working and you are a CEO of a company, you are in a board meeting, and that day is the middle of the week, Krishna Janmashtami is coming, and you are held up in the important board meeting, you are coming home at 9 o'clock in the evening. What will you do? That day, what do? You offer that simple doodh, the milk, and then say, Bhagavan, today. Maybe on the weekend, you can have an elaborate Krishna Janmashtami, and then you can do it. So you have to understand and interpret our religion to the current ways of living and with the attitude. That's what the Karma Yogi will always have the clarity. He will follow the processes as much as possible, but he will dedicate everything to the Lord. He will be above board, means that is, he will be absolutely ethical, and then he will take it everything as the Prasada Bhava. This is the gist of Karma Yoga. Now coming to the chapter 3, let me briefly go over it. In the chapter 2 itself, Bhagavan introduced Karma Yoga. Esha te bhita sankhe buddhir yoge tvimam shruno buddhya yaya part kanmabandham prahasya. I forgot the second line. Okay, okay. So what he is saying is, I have given you the Sankhya. Now I am giving you the Karma Yoga. I am going to introduce the yoga. And then he is giving it in the second chapter. In the second chapter, the two important shlokas, Karmanyeva Adhikaraste, Yogastha Kurukarmani, 247 and 48, are two important shlokas which are extremely important, where Krishna describes the attitude part. Krishna describes the attitude part, where he says is Samatvam Yoga Uchyate, Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam, 50th shloka. So understand the attitude part is given there in the second chapter. Then in the third chapter, he is going to talk about the action part more. That you have to understand. He gave the attitude part in the second chapter, and he gave the action part in the third chapter. How the third chapter begins? The third chapter begins with a question from Arjuna, because Arjuna could not understand what Krishna is trying to really explain. Because Krishna glorified Jnana in the beginning, glorified Jnana at the end. In between, he talked about Karma Yoga in the middle of the second chapter. And then so Arjuna was a little confused, and he is asking, you are asking me to do these gruesome actions, whereas you are glorifying the jnana. Tell me, what am I supposed to do? That's how it starts, the question, the first two slokas. Then in the third sloka, Bhagavan says, Lokesmin dvida nishta pura prokta mayanaga jnana yogena sankyanam karma yogena yoginam. I have got two things introduced. I have given you two things. One is what? One is the karma yoga, one is the jnana yoga. I have introduced. And here you have to understand very clear that the nishta, I mean, Lokesmin dvida nishta means two lifestyles are given. Two lifestyles are given. What are the two lifestyles? Of course, our Shastra talks about the four lifestyles: brahmacharya, brihastashrama, vanaprastham, sannyasam. So for simplicity's sake, we will exclude the vanaprastham and brahmacharyam. We will take it as a grihastashrama and sannyasa. That's what it is. So grihastashrama is the one which is a householder life. And sannyasi is the one, a renunciate life, where you give up everything, have a proper ochre robe, and then you dedicate your life full for jnana yoga. So here there are two lifestyles which is given here. Of these two lifestyles, what is that? The lifestyle of a householder is primarily for focusing on the karma yoga. That means as a grihastha, after studying the scriptures in the brahmacharya ashrama, when it comes to become a householder, you are supposed to perform all the actions in the karma yoga way. That means you are supposed to do actions in an ethical way, proper way, and take everything as a prasada buddhi, both the secular and sacred actions. That is what it is supposed to be there. So once you do it, what happens is you have got choices. What are all the choices you have got? You stay in grihastha ashrama and then do the chitta shuddhi, cleaning the mind and getting the mind prepared, and go to the jnana yoga in the grihastha ashrama itself, and then graduate yourself and get the graduation certificate. Moksha is given. This is the path number one. Path number two is what? You be a grihastha, chitta shuddhi, chitta ekagrata, chitta naischalyam, chitta vishalata. You get your mind prepared, everything. And then what do you do? Then you take a proper sannyasa with the permission of your family. There are protocols and procedures available. And then dedicate your life for more for jnana yoga purpose. This is the second option. There is an extreme option which is there, for example, you skip the Jagasthrashrama, from a brahmacharya, you go to directly to sannyasa, which is a very, very rare, not for everybody, only for few exceptional people. That is possible also. Otherwise, Bhagavan says, Nityacharam, you have to be very careful. So one should understand your actions have to be, what is the thing is, has to be, you have to do the actions in the grihastha ashrama and do the chitta shuddhi. So now the very important point in the two nishtas which is there, grihastha ashrama and sannyasa ashrama, Bhagavan says it is safer to be in the grihastha ashrama and then do the chitta shuddhi, and in the grihastha ashrama itself you can get the jnana yoga, you can get the jnana and get liberated. This is a very, very important message of Bhagavad Gita. When Bhagavan says, Karmanaivai samsiddhim astita janakadeha. So when he says janakadeha means Janaka and etc. Janaka, Ashwapati, Yagyavalkya, so many people are there. They all are Mahagrihasthas. They did perform the Karma Yoga, got the Chitta Shuddhi. They did not go to sannyasa. They got themselves liberated by becoming a jnani, as getting the jnana as a grihastha. Then what you are supposed to do? In the initial stage of grihastha ashrama, maybe in the modern language put it, in the first, assuming you are going to work at the age of 20, 25, assuming of the age of 50, 55, you are predominantly a grihastha ashrama, where you are doing a lot of responsibility of doing your work. That time what you do is, you do be a sincere karma yogi as given by Bhagavan, and then prepare yourself for jnana yoga, attend the Gita classes at least once in a week, and then recap the class lessons once in a week. That means every week you have got 2 hours, 1 hour for study, attending the class sincerely, even online without distraction, you focus on the class. And the second hour is what? Normally recording is available. Go and recap, take your notes, and then do it once more. So 2 hours you spend in a week in 112 waking hours. Where do you get 112 waking hours in a week? Assuming you are awake 16 hours a day, in a 7 into 16, 112. So out of 112, 16 hours, 112 waking hours, dedicate 2 hours, which is less than 2% of your time, which is very much possible. So as a grihastha, as a householder who is employed, whichever employment you are, whichever business you are, whatever CEO position you are in, should be able to spare easily 2 hours. I often say, how do you get the 2 hours? In fact, you can get more than 2 hours even in a week, in a day. How? If you are able to avoid all your social media outing or cut it down by 50%, you cannot be away from it. Cut it down by 50%, you will get at least half an hour every day easily. But conservatively, I am putting 2 hours in a week. So you dedicate yourself initially as a karma yogi and get the qualification done, because karma yoga is the place where you can get the maximum qualification. What is the qualification we are talking about? Vivekam, Vairagyam, Mumukshutvam, Samadhi Shatka Sampatti. All these things will come by karma yoga. And when you say karma yoga, it includes the subset of upasana yoga also. Shankara clearly puts it in the Gita Bhashyam. So upasana yoga is also subset of karma yoga. Physical activity is called karma yoga sometimes. Mental activity is called upasana yoga. But here Krishna says, Lokesmin dvida nishta. When you say, he says karma yoga, including upasana yoga, if you practice in your active life, you will get the qualifications. That means sadhana chatushtayam will be ready. Then when it comes to jnana yoga, over a period where at the age of 55 or 60, when you hang your boot, retire from the service, whatever you do, hand over the business to your children, and then you come, you gradually swing the pendulum the other way, where you dedicate your lives more and more for scriptural study. That means as a grihastha, I am going to temple, I am doing 4 hours of puja, I am doing all the activities, study Gita class 1 hour a week, it is okay. As you retire and as you have got more time, gradually shift the pendulum and involve more time on scriptural study. That means from 1 hour a week, it can become 1 hour class every day. You can go to Upanishads and other advanced scriptures. There are tons and tons of scriptures available. Ananta Shastram, Bahuvedittavyam, Alpascha Kalam, Bhagavascha Vigna. There are so much of scriptures to study. Only thing is, we have got a limited period. So one should be able to plan and dedicate and systematically study. There are syllabuses given by the Swami Dayananda and others. His Sishyas, beautifully given structure. For modern day language, you need not know Sanskrit, you need not know any language. As long as you know your vernacular language or English, you should be able to comfortably understand and gain moksha. So often I have come across people who say, sir, I am studying Sanskrit. Nowadays, Sanskrit regeneration is taking place. I am not against Sanskrit. Please learn it, but not at the cost of not coming to a Gita class. That is something very important. So you should attend the Gita class, get the knowledge, basic qualification, go through Gita again and again. Gita Mahatmyam says only Gita alone is sufficient, right? So keep repeatedly reading Gita throughout in the active service day. Then go to the Jnana Yoga part in the later part. That is what it is. So you can stay in the Grihastha Ashrama itself, be a Karma Yogi, do the Chitta Shuddhi, and then you go to Jnana Yoga at the later part full time, swing the pendulum, and then get yourself liberated. And what is liberation or moksha? Moksha is nothing but emotional independence. Emotional independence is called moksha. Santushta Satatam Yogi. Always emotionally free, relaxed mind is called moksha. Stress-free mind is called moksha. Otherwise called Jivan Muktihi. And after leaving the body, you won't get another Punarjanma. That's called Videha Muktihi. They are all there. But the benefit of Gita is, benefit of being a Karma Yogi is, you will first get a relaxed mind even as a Karma Yogi. It is not that only when you get the Jnanam Aham Brahmasmi, you will get the knowledge. And then only you will be having a free mind. No. Being a Karma Yogi itself, you will have a very, very relaxed mind. Guaranteed relaxed mind. Not I am saying, Krishna himself says. Krishna himself says in the 5th chapter, he says, Shanti Mapnoti Naishtiki. In the 2nd chapter, he says, Nehabik Kramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate Swalpam abhyasa dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. That's what he says. Now, in this third chapter, he is introducing the action part. He says you do the action in any one of the four angles from where you do the Karma Yoga. That is what is very important. It is from the shloka number 8 to shloka number 16 is the crux of the Karma Yoga which is given there. Okay, where he says either you do it as a Yajna Bhava, which is called Agya. That means commandment. Niyatam Kuru. Do it this way. Niyatam Kuru. So there's because scriptures are clearly says this is the way that we have to do it. Veda Purva Bhaga is fully dedicating this. Do anything as a Karma Yogi. Niyatam Kuru. One is Agya. Commandment. That is the first one. Second one is Yajna Bhava. Second one is Yajna Bhava. Yajnata Karmanon Anyatra Lokoyam Karma Bandhana. Yajna Bhava. You do the attitude of Yajna Bhava. So that means what? You dedicate everything to the Lord. This is where the Panchamaha Yajnam is given. The Panchamaha Yajnam is referred in the Taittiriya Samhita, in the Taittiriya Brahmana portion. It is very clearly given. The so-called five Yajnas. Deva Yajna, Pitru Yajna, Rishi Yajna, Manushya Yajna, Bhuta Yajna. So all these Yajnas, one is supposed to do. Deva Yajna means all the religious activities for the God. Pitru Yajna is all the taking care of parents here and now while living, and then do Shraddha Tarpana later. And Rishi Yajna is systematic study of scriptures. Manushya Yajna is all kinds of services to the humanity. And finally, Bhuta Yajna is taking care of ecological preservation, cattle and all the environmental preservation, which we are talking in a high way, global warming, which is given in the scriptures. So do this Yajna. So second attitude is do as a Yajna Bhava. Agya means commandment. Then second one is Yajna. The third one is Samskara. The 13th slokas talked about it. Samskara. For Chitta Shuddhi purpose, you do it Karma Yoga. So for a person who is coming into Vedantic studies, knows my path, knows my goal, knows the pathway, knows where I am starting. He has got three things very clear. Where am I? Where am I supposed to reach? And what is the way? So Vedantic clearly knows Moksha is my goal. He understands what is Moksha in a brief way, but he starts becoming a Karma Yogi. That means I need to do a Chitta Shuddhi. In that angle, you can do it. So, and last one is Dharma. Dharma. He is saying that everything has a Dharma. What is Dharma? That is, Dharma is, the very definition of Dharma is what you do not want others to do it for you, do not do it for others. Very simple. So that means you should not do anything which you don't want others to do it for you. That is a very one definition of Dharma. And Dharma has got very many meanings. Here, Dharma is what? You take care of all these Panchamaha Yajnas and take care of everything in a dharmic way. And when you get it, you will get the Chitta Shuddhi. So in the third chapter, shloka number 8 to 16 talks about the Karma Yoga. And earlier he says in the shloka number 4, 5, 6, he says, you cannot get moksha without being a Karma Yogi. And you cannot even for a moment not do any action. Without that, you cannot perform, you cannot be silent. And then if you are suppressing yourself, because some people say, I straight away go to Jnana Yoga and do meditation. Nothing. Your mind will go all over. And Bhagavan says it is Mityacharam. So don't do it. So that's what. So the core of the portion is this. This is the Karma Yoga part. The remaining topics I'll briefly explain and then I'll conclude. Then he talks about the Jnanam also. 17, 18, 19. Yasvatma Radhirevasyat Atma Truptascha Manavah. Atmanyevacha Santushtaha Tasya Karyam Na Vidyate. That is a Jnana Yoga. So Jnana Yogi's mindset is what? Once you have got a Jnanam, nothing is to be accomplished. So everything is already accomplished back. Then you can relaxedly do every actions. That's what he says. Then from the 20th shloka, second line onwards, till 29th shloka, Bhagavan gives the Loka Sangraha topic. That means a person who has got the Jnanam, who has got the Karma Yoga, then to Jnana Yoga, got the Jnanam, how he behaves in this world. And that beautiful portion is given. And there he says, Krishna says, I myself is continue to do the actions even after the Jnana. So because you have got two choices. If you are a sannyasi also, there are two choices. What is that? As a sannyasi, after getting Jnana, you can completely withdraw from the life. Or you can be an active sannyasi. You can be active sannyasi going and spreading the knowledge. That is two ways you can do it. As a grihastha, after getting jnana, what you are supposed to do? Either you can be a retired grihastha, just be at home and then have minimum interactions. Or as a grihastha, you can go out and do dedicate and then spread the knowledge and teach others and do various things. Continue to do it. So those ways you can do it. That is a Loka Sangraha topic. A person who has got the jnanam, how he is doing it. And the 30th shloka, which is the most pivotal, it is a summary of the entire Karma Yoga. If you want to remember only one shloka in this chapter or in the entire Karma Yoga portion, this is my favorite shloka. Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashihi nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vikadajwaraha. What does it mean? Sanyasya sarva karmani mayi offer. What does it mean? Offering na sarva karmani, all actions onto me. Sanyasya sarva karmani mayi. Offer all the actions to me. How you should do it? How you should do it? Adhyatma chetasa. Adhyatma chetasa. What does it mean? With a devout mind. Now, with a viveka buddhi. Shankaracharya says it is a viveka buddhi, the discriminative ways. What is the discrimination you should have? One is you should know what is dharma, adharma, viveka. Second one is what is nitya, anitya vastu viveka. Both you should have. So with a devout mind, with a viveka buddhi means clearly having the goal in mind. My goal is moksha. That is adhyatma chetasa. Then what do you do? Nirashihi. Without expectation. That's what prasada buddhi. With the prasada buddhi and nirmamaha bhutva. Without any possessiveness of anything. We are all only the custodian of everything in this life. We don't own anything at all. Including this body, I'm only a custodian, temporarily given body, I'm a custodian. So without any possessiveness, without dwelling on the result and successes, you nirmamaha bhutva. And then vikata jwaraha, without anxiety. Without anxiety means always in the future, either you have got a fear over the future or you are fancying the future. Bhagavan says in the 16th chapter, idamadhyam ayalabdam yam prapsya manoratham. So sometimes you will get so much of money, so much of bonus, so much things. No. Or fear over the future. Normally we have got more fear than the expectations. So he says vikata jwaraha. Then yuddhyasva. Yuddhyasva here refers to Arjuna, not to all of us. Okay. Yuddhyasva refers to, he says fight. Because Arjuna has to fight. For us, what do you say yuddhyasva? You perform your actions. So this shloka 30 gives the entire summary of Karma Yoga, both action and attitude part, what he explained in the 2nd chapter and the 3rd chapter together. This is the pivotal shloka of the entire Karma Yoga. And what is he is giving subsequently? Then he is concluding the chapter from 31 to 35. Those who are able to have the Shraddha, they will get benefit. Those who are criticizing me, they are the Vidhi Nashtana Chetasaha. Who am I to lose? It is for them, they are the losers. He is putting it very clearly. In the 33, 34, there could be a confusion. Okay, we always say, I've got a certain attitude. How can I do it? Whether my attitude, everybody say, because the 33rd shloka, if you study in isolation, is a confusing shloka. Because what is the thing? It is a kind of a question. Na prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. What can I do? After all, I am born like this. Even Duryodhana says that way. So for which the 34th shloka is very important, where he says, na indriyasya arteshu ragadveshu vyavastitahu. There will always be a craving for all our sense organs to go outward, but you should be able to channelize all of them. Tayor na vasamagachet. Taukhyasya paripantino. Know that to be the enemy. So channelize. So in the Karma Yogi, what is the important thing is, in Tamil we say, Manambona pokallam poha vendam. Don't go as the mind takes you. No, you must have a regulated life. Every day morning when I get up, I should know exactly what am I going to do for the whole day. The 16 hours, you have to have a planning. In fact, I am at the stage where I am going to be closing to retirement. I have already warned my family. What is the thing? I have told them my life is very clear. I have got my own chart. I will put some time for you guys. Don't take me like a doormat where you can use me for all the errand jobs after retirement. I'm not going to allow you. Of course, I will dedicate 1 hour, half an hour, whatever it is. or tell me tomorrow weekend, I need 4 hours of your time, I'll give you the time. But you cannot dictate. And when, as and when there is somebody waiting at Diwali, no, that is not possible. Because this is very important for people who are retired. What happens is, after time, you are being used as a doormat. Nowhere allow that. Because you have got a time to study the scriptures. That is what you are supposed to be, your life. Because nobody is going to help you. In this Janma, these people will be there. Next Janma, nobody is going to come with you. And we are here to break this Janma. And this is the last Janma for us. Because you are all the yoga brashtas of the past. So we have to break it only in this Janma. So understand, I have to channelize my mind and work on this dedicatedly 100%. That one should get it. And then he says in the 35th shloka, again, another confusing shloka, Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaga. That means whatever it is, whatever is prescribed to you, you do it. Don't say, I'm an engineer, I have made some money, I'm envying at my bankers, because this entire street is full of bankers who are all getting 5 million, 10 million bonus. Okay. At those days, I felt like, look, I could have done a chartered accountancy and got into that. No, that is gone. Opportunity is gone now. So don't do it. You do whatever it is. Already you have got something to eat and relax. So don't compare others. Then Bhagavan says in the last section, he says, what he is saying is, Arjuna is asking a beautiful question. Why people are doing the mistakes knowingly? Each topic can be spoken for hours and hours. But this is beautifully he's saying is because except a child or a madman, everybody is doing actions, everybody is making mistakes knowingly. You go and check. Except a madman and a child, everybody knows. When I am bloated, do I not know if I eat more, I will be putting on weight? I made the mistake. I made the mistake and then put on weight. And now I am trying to undo the things. Now I am trying to have the kshema in me. So all of us, we do the mistakes knowingly only. So he is asking the questions. And he says it is a Rajoguna, which is the one. Kama yesha krodha yesha Rajoguna samudbhava maha ashanaha maha papma vidyena miha vairinam. Know that to be the enemy. It is the enemy. So ashanaha, it is insatiable. The more you put it, more it will go further. So it is not only you will enjoy, you will be satisfied. No, if you enjoy, it will ask you more. So it is giving you all those explanations. And finally, he is concluding by saying, you have to grow gradually. The Atma is a very, very subtle knowledge. You have not. He is saying is, compared to the material objects, the Indriyas are subtle. Compared to the Indriyams, the mind is subtler. Compared to the Mindri, Buddhi is subtler further. Finally, at least Atma is the ultimate subtle one. And you have to understand, that's what he is saying is. So in the last shloka, he says, Evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhyatmanam atmana jahishatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. He is concluding, know that this kama is what? This rajoguna based extroverted activity of an insatiable appetite for materialistic earning and enjoyment. That is what is called rajoguna gives you. That is to be the enemy. Understand this. And be a karma yogi. Take everything, dedicate everything to the Lord as Ishvara Arpana. Take everything as a prasada buddhi. And then do panchamaha yajna. Be a relaxed mind. In fact, I tell you the last secret. If you don't understand Atma portion, forget it. You can put it out of syllabus. I'm boldly telling you on behalf of Krishna. Be a karma yogi itself. 80 to 90% almost you are there. Your mind is so relaxed because you are dedicating everything to the Lord. Atma portion will follow automatically. You will get it. As you read more and more, you will get to understand. Don't jump to Upanishads. Don't jump to other scriptures. Stay with Gita, Gita, Gita. Only Gita, nothing else. I call it as my not second wife. That has become my first wife. My first wife has become a second wife because that's what is very important. Be a Gita person all the time. Gita should go through every nerve of the body. As Swami Chidbhavananda says, now the eaten food will not give you nourishment. It is a digested food which will give you nourishment. Similarly, Gita should be the way of life. Karma Yoga should be the way of life in which we should be a Karma Yogi throughout our life. Rest will follow later. Hari Om.
Thank you so much, Ravi for this outstanding and brilliant take on Karma Yoga, one of the most central concepts of Bhagavad Gita, definitely. And really a fantastic talk. And I think so much to be learned and so much to be understood from your talk, and especially on the things about the retired people and how we should actually carry out our job. And the Bhagavad Gita should go in through each and every nerve of our body. Really, very, very important messages. We may find some time to ask some questions by the audience if at the end of the talk, at the end of this session. So till then, we'll just continue. You'll be staying on, right, Ravi?
Yeah, I'm available. I am available. Any about.
Great.
Sorry, I took a little bit extra 10 minutes.
No problem. That's fine. Wonderful. That's really fantastic. Thank you so much again. So we will complete the rest of the portions and then we'll come back to this. Okay. So let me share the screen again. So we have. Now we have this, the final, we have this quiz session. So this time we will request our Padmini ji to handle this session. Padmini ji. So this quiz session is basically about the topic, the portions which are chanted today. So people are interested. Padmini ji, you take over, please.
Hari Om, welcome to Mini Gita Quiz 4. There are two types of questions. The first type are to be answered in a couple of words or a few words. And the second type of questions are to be answered in a sentence of less than 20 words. Questions in these quizzes will be based on verses chanted in that specific session. Example, today's session 4 of the quiz will be based on Gita Dhyanam and or Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, verse number 1 to 43. Please respond with answers for these quizzes via the Google Forms with links given for every session. So separate sessions, separate links have been given for every session. Questions for each session will be explained in the respective sessions. You can always see the session videos at Gita Jayanti Facebook page or Gita Jayanti YouTube channel again. Answers to questions and names of top correct responses will be presented at future sessions. Now, regarding the type 1 set of questions to be answered in a couple or a few words. Question number 1. Krishna tells Arjuna that it is not possible for anyone to remain actionless even for a moment. What does he say is the reason for this? We can refer to Gita chapter 3, verse number 5 to answer this question. Question number 2. Krishna tells Arjuna that even great Rajarishis like Janaka performed karma. What was the primary motive behind the actions of people like Janaka? The same reason is given subsequently in verse 25 as to why Jnanis too perform actions. Question 3. In the verse 31, Krishna tells Arjuna that all others, rest of humanity, too can attain freedom from karma bandha, who obey his advice in chapter 3, verse 30, but with 2 additional qualities. What are the additional qualities? Question number 4, based on chapter 3, verse 34. What are the 2 enemies or path blockers under whose influence one should never come under? Question number 5. In verse 37, Krishna points out 2 emotions born of Rajoguna, which are the enemies. What are they? And in verses 38 to 43, Krishna asks Arjuna to totally vanquish which of these, being the root cause, which is difficult to conquer. Now we are moving on to the second type of questions, which are to be answered in less than 20 words or lesser. Longer answers will be rejected. Question number 1. Chapter 3, verse number 16 starts as Evam Pravartitam Chakram. What is the chakram or wheel or circle that is being discussed here? In question number 2, Mahakavi Kalidasa's Raghuvamsham has the following shloka in the Vishnu Stuti in chapter 10, verse 31. Anavaptam avaptavyam nate kinchana vidyate lokanugraha evaiko hetuste janma karmanoho. Meaning, nothing is there which thou hast not obtained, and hence nothing whatsoever remains for thee to be obtained. Doing good to the people is the only object of your incarnations and actions. Which verse of chapter 3 carries this idea? Question number 3. What are the reasons given in verse 321 as to why the behavior of important people, Shreshtaha, is especially important? Question number 4. Krishna appeals to Arjuna to fight the battle free from sorrow in chapter 3, verse 30. What is the mental framework that Krishna asks Arjuna to have while fighting the battle? Question number 5. Indriyani paranyahuhu indriyebhyah param manaha manasastu para buddhihi yo buddheh paratastu saha has close parallels to mantras in Kathopanishad. Identify the mantras from the Upanishad. So these are the questions for today's quiz session number 4. Good luck.
The answers we should be answered them in the Google form given here, the tiny URL Gita mini quiz S4 session 4. Okay, thank you very much, Padmini, for hosting this session. And if anybody has listened to the talk by Raviji, most of the answers are already given for the questions. He has already talked about most of the answers. So this is just a clue. Okay, now we get back to the final segment of this session for today. We have the final concluding mantras. Over to Padmini again.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaramurtaye Amrita Kalasha Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokya Nathaya Mahavishnave Swaha. Om Achyutaya Namaha, Om Anantaya Namaha, Om Govindaya Namaha, Om Achyutaya Namaha, Om Anantaya Namaha, Om Govindaya Namaha, Om Achyutaya Namaha, Om Anantaya Namaha, Om Govindaya Namaha. Vasudeva Sutan Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kayena vacha manasendriyairva buddhyatmana va prakrite swabhavat karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayami. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. 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 Om.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Padmini. So we conclude today's session. So we once again let us remember the two great saints of Hinduism, two great masters, Shankaracharya and Ramanujacharya, whose birthdays was just last week. The same day, very interestingly, 6th of May. So since we could not be chanting on that day, so we take this opportunity to pay our salutations and respects to the great masters. Shankara Bhashyam and Ramanuja Bhashyam are both very, very important bhashyas of Bhagavad Gita. And next session is on the 5th session 5 is on 28th May, 2 weeks from today, same time. So see you all at the same time at this the next session. So thank you again. So now we will request, we'll enable people to actually unmute yourself. Let me just do that. And I will also request everybody to kindly enable your video. So we take a couple of photographs, snapshots. Then after that, we can have the open session. So can you please enable your videos, please, everybody? Enable your videos, please. Videos. Many videos are still remaining open. Request everybody to enable your videos, please. Okay, great. So thank you very much for that. And I think now we will have the session open to the audience for asking questions to our speaker for today, Sri Raviji. Anybody has any questions? You can unmute yourself. Now you can people can unmute yourself. Are there any questions in the chat box? Let me just check.
Hello, Ravi sir. Chandra here.
There is one question in Anmol Jain. He's asked that how can I get the recording? The recordings are actually, these are being live streamed onto our Facebook page as well as the YouTube page of Gita Jayanti. So you can always go back to our Gita Jayanti YouTube channel or the Facebook page to get the full recording of this session. Okay, go ahead. Please ask a question. Somebody is asking a question.
Hello, Ravi sir. Chandra here. Just I want to. It was a very wonderful explanation, and also like karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. That simple sentence, simple shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Everywhere it is told, but the thing is, implementing is very difficult. Even though, but the thing is, the way you have told the attitude and choice, it gave a very good explanation. Even though I don't have any question. Just I would like to know, is there any way like we can hear you more anywhere? If you can tell us, it will be very helpful. And also, how normal people can implement this particular way to live. Is there any way to do it, or how it can be implemented slowly in day-to-day life? That's a question from mine.
Thank you very much, Ji. I mean, by the grace of Lord Krishna and thanks to Gita Forum Singapore, I had the opportunity to dip into Gita thanks to my being in Singapore, that I never can forget the Gita Forum for my life. I dipped in, and then I have been running classes on a regular basis for the last nearly about 10 years. And if you want, I have given you the phone number in the chat box also. You can reach out to me, and we are taking Gita classes. The recent classes have started with the 3rd chapter just introduced actually. So in fact, this is another refresher for me, because the 3rd chapter is just commenced there. So you can join, and recordings are available for the previous chapters also. You can join us. So that's what. And there you can also get all the practical, because this is the most practical thing. You come to the classes, you will get all the examples. I gave only a few examples. If Krishna Kumarji allowed me to talk for 3 hours, I would have spoken 3 hours actually. I could have given you reams of examples and how practically you can do for every situation. I took my own case and then tried to see what I can do it. That's what I said. So come to the classes, you will get more details. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I should say that Raviji is conducting so many classes in so many states, and his contribution to spreading Bhagavad Gita is something that is it simply cannot be praised more, I would say.
Yeah, I am one of the greatest beneficiary from him. I'm one of the greatest beneficiaries. Yes. He is my teacher's son. Now he has become my guru, I would say. Proudly. Proud.
Yeah, okay. Let me ask you a question, Raviji. See, in 330, which you said as the central, one of the main ideas, right? Mai sarvani karmani samyasadhyatma chetasa nidasir nirmamo bhutvan yudhyasva vigatajvara. But this statement, Krishna tells to Arjuna. Okay, but in the very next verse, he says, ye me matamidam nityam anudishthandi manavaha sraddhavan Saddhavanto Nasuyantaha Muchende Devi Karmapi. So he says for the rest of the Manavas, that means the rest of the humanity, Saddhavanta Anasuyantaha. So these are the two additional qualifications that he says is required for the rest of the people. So can you throw some light into this next verse, 331?
It is not the extra people. He says those people,
Manavaha.
The Manavaha with the qualification of Shraddha and Anasuya will get it.
Yeah, I mean, why the Shraddha and Anasuya? That is,
So,
especially Anasuya. That is really strange.
So there are two aspects. I mean, one is Shraddha, another one is Anasuya. The Shraddha is a very, very important, and Acharya says, Satya Buddhi Avadarana, Shastasya Guru Vakyasya Satya Buddhi Avadaranam. In Viveka Chudamani, he says. So, Shraddha is a very, very technical word. There is no one single word in English equivalent. What does it mean is, Veda is the primary source of knowledge, and then the primary source, considering Veda as a primary source of knowledge, and then following is called Shraddha. So that is what Shraddha says. And Anasuya means criticizing, because some people always criticize somebody, right? I have seen some people who are very religious, who comes from a very Dikshadhar family, saying that, I mean, one person told me, one close friend of mine, all these things are very, very good to listen, but not practically not possible. One person said to me, I'm not making it up. So Anasuya it is applicable to the human race in this form as far as human is available. This whole concept is applicable, and that's what. So one should not criticize Krishna or criticize when Krishna is Arjuna or whatever it is. Arjuna is a brilliant materialistically most successful person, like today's Ambanis of those days, you know, who had the maximum valor, who has the maximum courage, who was closer to Krishna, and then who was most handsome, had everything, Dhananjaya, he had all the wealth, but even then he had that emotional challenges. So all of us are materially prosperous, but spiritually or emotionally very weak. So come to Gita, you will get it.
Beautiful, thank you. Any other questions, anybody else? Rajesh is here. Rajesh, why don't you give your comments?
Thank you, Krishna ji. No, I just wanted to say that it was a very scholarly and wonderful, explanation of the different verses of Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, which is everyone's favorite. And as he was mentioning, even I was astounded when I read about a direct question by Arjun, that what is it that prevents us from achieving you, O Lord? So when he says that please explain to me, and Sri Krishna says Kama is, Krodha is, So that particular reference is, in my opinion, a very important takeaway from chapter 3. And when he concludes, if I remember, there is a verse, Dhumena Briyate Vahni, Darpo Malena Cha. Yatha darpo malena cha yatholbe na grabas tatha anavrita. So that verse says that like the womb covers the fetus, like the dust covers the mirror, and like the smoke covers the fire, even the wisdom of the most intelligent person gets covered when he is consumed by the desire, which is the the power of Maya. And that is why only Sri Krishna surrender to him, which he concludes in the Bhagavad Gita, is the answer. So this is what I have to say, that the final verdict of Bhagavad Gita is man mana bhav mat bhakto. Come to me, sarva dharman parityajya. And that is what I keep repeating, that there is only one message: come to me, surrender to me, don't have envy, as Raviji explained. Thank you.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah. Is there no other question? Yeah, if you look at Raviji, verse 341, he says, Indriyani paranyahu indrebhya paramanaha manasastu parabuddhihi yobuddhe baradastu saha. And very interestingly, very next verse, he says, evam buddhehe param buddha samstabhyatmanam atmana yahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam. Sorry, not this one. 42. Indriya, sorry.
Yeah, 42 and 43.
No, I'm talking about 41 and
41 is Tasmat Indriyan Yado Niyamya Baradarshaba.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Actually, Tasmat Indriyan Yado Niyamya Baradarshaba. Papmanam Pradyahi Hieram. So he says that the Athishtanam, Indriyani Manobuddhi. Yeah, sorry, I was meaning 340. Indriyani Manobuddhi Athishtanam.
Yes.
So he says that the Athishtanam of Kama is actually Indriya, Mana, and Buddhi.
Yes.
And then he says later, Indriyani Paranyahu Indriyabhya Paramanaha Panasastu Parabuddhi Yobuddhe Baradasa. So the sequence of Indriya and Manasa, Mana and Manas and Buddhi is coming in both the as the Athishtanam of Kama, as well as in the sequence of superiority or the subtlety. So do you find any correlation between the two here?
See, it's a brilliant question, by the way, Krishna Kumar ji. Basically, I mean, when you go to Taittiriya Upanishad, it talks about the Panchakosha Vilakshana, right? So the Indriyam is, see, that's where you have got the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, 5 layers of personality, and one has to overcome one by one. And the very subtle point here is, Buddhi is Achetanam, it's the Jadavastu, it is an inert principle. And you have to use the Buddhi only to gain the knowledge. After gaining the knowledge, you have to negate that Buddhi is also not there. There's a very, very subtle point which is given there. So the seat of the Kama, as you said, is in the Indriyams, in the Manas, as well as Buddhi. Manas means emotional faculty. Buddhi is the rational faculty. And they are the gates, 3 gates we have to cross. And then you have to come to the Atma. So that you can say it in the Kosha. Each Kosha, you have to remove it. Then only you reach the Atma. That is what is the one way. And the second one is, as I said, you have to use the Buddhi only to gain the knowledge. Like you take sharp objects, remove the sharp objects in the foot, and remove and throw both of them like this. So use the Buddhi to gain the knowledge, and then discard the Buddhi also. Finally, that is not me. So that's what I could see that connection between the two. And basically he is saying is you have to use that intellect. That's what he is concluding in the last shloka. Correct. Thus knowing self, which is beyond the intellect. He is putting it very clearly. Just knowing the self which is beyond the intellect, and steadying the mind with the mind, and conquer the elusive enemy which is in the form of desire. So what is the meaning is, because normally when you go and inquire yourself, there's a Shunyavada, it goes to takes to Shunyavada. When you are removing all the layers and then say nothing is there. So where is nothingness? Nothing is also being experienced by something which is the Brahman. So that is a concept also, we can bring it from that angle as well.
Krishna ji, you would agree with me that this chariot analogy also helps, about your question, that the 5 senses are the 5 horses, the chariot is our body, the rope is the mind, and the charioteer is the intellect, and the soul is the passenger. So that also gives a beautiful explanation just to understand the hierarchy which you mentioned.
Yeah. And not only that, actually, Bhagavan says the same hierarchy is also the Adhishtanam of Kama, which is the most biggest enemy of all. So that is the interesting thing, that is, and Anmol Jain just shared saying that he was. Would you like to talk, Mr. Jain? Are you around? I've been studying essays on the Gita by Sri Aurobindo, and that he says for verses 320 to 326 that there are few more important passages in the Gita than these 7 striking couplets. So this is also a very interesting statement by Sri Aurobindo, another great master. Okay, I think so. Unless there are no other questions, we can terminate for today. Any other messages by anybody? Okay, so I think let us thank our guest of honor for today, Sri Jayakumar ji, and our speaker for today, Sri Ravi ji, and all the wonderful chanters and all the our participants in the sessions today. So we thank everybody, and we offer all our these efforts to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Thank you, everybody, and see you at the next time. Hari Om.
Hari Om.